Hi, so we'll now proceed to a different topic. As you can see, or as you can see from the previous video, puro calculation. So technically, I will not be repeating all discussion talaga, but I will be highlighting those that is or with calculation. So the rest, kaya niyo naman siguro yun. You can study even with paper. So make use of it. Our next is the quantitative aspects in phase changes. So if you can still remember the phase changes, you say for example from solid to liquid, that's melting, diba? From liquid to gas, that's vaporization, and then from um, liquid to solid, so that's solidification. So these are just few of those phase changes. The quantitative aspects of phase change include specific heat, heat of fusion, and heat of vaporization. So that's what we are going to discuss about. So first is the specific heat. So, kadali. Okay, specific heat, no? So basically, as defined by Baguio, which is used since 2017, it is clearly defined as the amount of heat needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of a substance by 1 degree Celsius. Specifically, specific heat is calculated as specific heat, which is sin siya ang iyahang kumbaga symbol, no? Specific heat is equals to the heat required, or which is the heat in joules, no? Heat in joules ni siya. And then we have the grams or the mass, no? Wait, baliktad pala. I mean, the mass, which is in grams, no? And degrees Celsius, which is the temperature. So the temperature, the temp, the unit would be degrees Celsius. So by transforming this or from this formula, we are able to compute for the heat, which is the heat that is either absorbed or released by the system. So the heat is equals to the Q, which is here. No, derive a formula, padulong kanina formula, which is usually used. I know, not usually, but used in any most of the problems. So we have Q equals to MC change of the temperature, wherein Q it means heat absorbed or heat released. We have here mass, depending on the problem ha, kung saan siya na heat. And then this one is the heat capacity. So for heat capacity, constant siya sa isa ka substance. So it will be given lalo na sa inyong exam. And then this one is the change of temperature. So that is initial, I final minus initial. So, actually, it doesn't matter no kung ma-minus siya or ma-plus siya din. So, di siya mag-matter. And for heat of fusion, so good sa mga formula tanan. For heat of fusion naman on the other hand, so when we say heat of fusion, technically that is what we call actually melting, diba? So the opposite of melting is the heat of solidification, um, wherein the substance is changing its phase, solidification, changing its phase from liquid to solid. And the symbol for this is the, no, not really change, but the heat of fusion and the heat of solidification. But in formulas, meron siyang symbol for change, which is a triangle. So, yeah. And then we have several, we have heat of vaporization. So, of course, this is from liquid to gas. So we have heat of vaporization. Heat of vaporization. So for heat of vaporization, the state is from liquid to gas siya. So this is the change of the heat of vaporization, which is change of heat of vaporization. So that's the symbol, and then of course, the opposite of heat of vaporization is the heat of condensation, wherein from gas to liquid siya. So, change of H. Condensation, right? CON. So, formula is still the same. The formula is actually from the formula of the specific heat. Okay, may mga errors na din here because of the movement of my microphone. So, for the formula of for the formula for heat of fusion, for solidification, or for vaporization, okay, yung tablet pala yung na-disconnect. Okay, so ulit tayo. So for the formula, ang timan-an lang yun niya is actually kani, no? Natin formula ng MC, change of temperature. But since the specific heat is being kanang paano siya mag-change siya, because mag-change siya, the specific heat is directly related to the change of the temperature. So therefore, ito sila, they actually stand for the change of H. So therefore, kung heat of fusion siya, the formula would be, no, I will do it this way. The formula would be Q is equals to M, and then kung sa tong heat of heat of vaporization, heat of fusion, or whatsoever. So, mo lang yun na formula ang inyong timanan. Kulihan na yun din siya kung solidification ba siya, kung vaporization ba siya, or condensation ba siya. So, Q equals to M change of H con. So, ingon ani lang ang iyahang structure. So, there are several ano siya tawagan ni? Several values of heat of fusion that is given, and I'm sure that you already took note of that, no? So, we have specific heat of ice, no? Solid water. So, mag-open ako ng another sheet here. So we have specific heat. So, susulat ko siya ulit para may copy kayo. Specific heat of ice, which is the solid state. No? Its value is 2.04 joules per gram degree Celsius. So, wag kayong mag-alala. You don't need to memorize this kasi during the exam, bigyan kayo ng values niya talaga. So, this is the specific heat of liquid or water, which is 4 point, actually, mali yung nasa isang reference ko pala. So, this is actually 4.19 joules per gram degree Celsius. Pagdating sa exam, tingnan nyo na kung ano yung given talaga niya. Okay? Kasi, I check, mali pala yung nasa book na binase ko last time sa ano natin sa klase. So we have specific heat of steam, which is the gas form, of water, which is 2.00 joules per gram degree Celsius. And then we have here the heat of fusion of water at 0 degrees Celsius, the heat of fusion of water at 0 degrees Celsius, water ito siya. The equivalent is 333.6 joules per gram. And for the heat of vaporization, water pa rin ito, at 100 degrees Celsius, its equivalent is 2,258 joules per gram. Okay, take note of this value kasi um, wala lang, to familiarize. Kasi pagdating naman sa exam, it will be given to you. The values will be given to you. So, let's have here a problem. So, this problem was already been used during the discussion proper in Google Meet. So, I will use it again. So, the problem is you have to calculate, no? Calculate the heat needed to melt 100 grams of ice. So, you have to compute for the heat needed to melt a 100 grams of ice. So therefore, to melt it, so it will there will be a phase change or the change of phase. So from solid to liquid, thus we will use the formula for specifically for the heat of fusion. So the formula would be Q is equals to M change, the heat of fusion. So the heat of fusion. So for the heat of fusion, the Q, since you are computing for the heat, so Q talaga siya. Then the mass, which is 100 grams. So you have to make sure na pag mass siya, dapat naka-grams din na siya. Multiplied with um, multiplied with 333.6 joules, which is here, written as the heat of fusion at 0 degrees Celsius. So, joules per 1 gram. Ganyan naman yan siya pag isulat talaga. So, multiply divided by 1. So, we have 360 joules. So, 33,360 joules. No? Is this the final answer? So, tingnan natin sa given, no? So, for the given, there are three significant figures that was given. So, therefore, dapat your final answer should be expressed with only three significant figures. So, to express it, you have to change this whole number into an exponential number or scientific notation. So, move the decimals here from right to left. So you'll have 3.33, 34 kasi 6 ang next number. So 3.34 times 10 raised to the power of 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 4 joules. So this one is the final answer now for the word problem. So always make sure that when you solve for a problem, just like say for example, from solid, may mo siyang gas. So, timanan ninyo na kailangan mo agisa siya sa different state or different phase of matter. So, therefore, di ka pwede mag-compute nga gikan siya. Say, for example, may ka compute for the heat needed in order to change the phase of state of matter from solid to gas dayon. So, pag-compute mo na, dili lang kayo sa solid na part ang may compute. But, agi po nimo siya sa liquid, padulong siya sa gas. Kasi ang phase change or the change of the phase of matter, it will not change na diretso siya. Kailangan mo agi siya. So, kung kailangan gusto mo ma-ice din siya, maagi sa siya liquid para mahimo siya ice. Or kung gusto mo siya gikan siya sa ice, padulong sa gas, kailangan patunawon sa nimo siya para mahimo liquid and then para mahimo siya gas. So, mo lang siya ang our calculations, no? So, madali lang siya, lalo sa specific heat. So, if you have any other questions or clarification, you can ask your classmates. If your classmates cannot answer, then you can go to me and I can answer the questions. Alright? So, I hope that you understood everything kasi binibilisan ko na 30 minutes na para dili kayo makapuyo ng paminaw. Alright? So, goodbye.